All right, guys, what is going on? My name is Ollie Ward. Welcome back to the Ollie Ward channel. The playoff final is just a few days away as of recording, and I'm joined by an absolute Leeds legend. There's only one Leeds fan channel, and it is Connor from One Leeds. How are you doing, Connor?
There's only one Leeds fan channel. I might have to start using that, to be honest.
Look at that. Get that on
Yeah,
the
I'm
team.
all right. I'm all right, mate. Those nerves are building now, but feels like we've just been talking about it all week, don't we? And it's just need to get it over the line now. I'm excited for the Euros, to be fair. So I need this
Yeah.
to get out of my head.
No, that's fair enough. I'm not normally as excited for like Euros in England, but I really am this year. I've no clue why, because Southgate ball is worrying sometimes. But I'm sure we'll maybe get into that in the summer. But for now, it's all eyes on the playoff final. Wembley this Sunday. We're going to get into predictions, predicted lineups, and all that good stuff. If you guys want to see more collabs with more great YouTubers like Connor, go and smash that like button. Also subscribe and get your comments in, and also subscribe to Connor if you don't know who he is. I mean, you probably do, but either way, get down there and subscribe. So Connor, I'm going to start just straight away. How are you actually feeling? Like, are you feeling confident? Is there a nervousness to you? What's your, if I said Leeds versus Southampton Sunday, what's your nerves like?
It changes sort of every day, really. We're speaking about this last night. I think the difficulty is you've not got any experience of Leeds doing it before. So I've been to Millennium Stadium when we've lost. I've been to Cardiff. I was there in 08 when we lost to Donny. So it's really difficult to actually see Leeds winning this because we've never done it before. And I think a lot of people's opinions are framed on experience. So I think that is the big sort of thing for me. So in my head, it's like we've got a 5% chance of winning because I've literally never seen it before. And it's not because I'm going into it like negative or pessimistic. I've just never seen Leeds win at Wembley before or in sort of a final competition. So we've not won a playoff semi-final at home since I think it was 87. So that's how stark it's been. The positive is Southampton have never been to a playoff final, I don't think, or they've been once and they might have lost. So they've not got that much experience in it as well. But just in terms of nerves, mate, they are getting bigger. I respect Southampton massively as an opponent. I've watched Southampton a few times this season, and they do make me a little bit nervous. I'd definitely pick other teams to face instead of Southampton in, even Leicester and Ipswich. But I, at the minute, mate, it feels like it's a flip of a coin.
Yeah. Do you think it actually factors into play the fact they're beating us twice this season, or do you see it as a one-off final, anything could kind of happen, or do you think there is mind games there that Southampton have beaten us twice already?
Yeah, I'd like to say no. I would like to say no, but I think naturally they've got the oldest squad in the division, and I think they'll sort of lean on the facts in the sort of changing rooms before the game that they've beaten us twice. I think Martin will be saying that to them. Does it play on the Leeds players' mind? I'm not sure it does entirely, but they are young. We've got a very, very young team, second youngest in the division. So I don't know whether or not that's going to play on the mind. I don't know if psychologically they'll be able to sort of, get that out of their minds. But what I will say is, a lot of the media day stuff, which happened on Monday, they all seem in a very, very good mindset. They all seem very excited. And there doesn't seem to be any nerves there whatsoever, whether or not on the big day when they see Southampton opposite them and there's 90,000 people in the stadium, they'll think a little bit differently. We'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, I agree. They do look calm, confident, and excited. And you talk about the inexperience of the players, or maybe not the inexperience, but just how young the team is. I was kind of just factoring in my head, we've got quite a young squad. Will the 90,000 player part? But you've looked at big games this season with Leeds United, and you've looked at both Leicester games. You looked at Ipswich games, even up to the 90th minute, the Chelsea game. They're all big games and all. They've turned up in a lot of these games, so they may be young, but I think this squad has got something about him. Would you say that's down to Daniel Farke, or do you think there's a mentality thing there, or do you disagree with me?
Yeah, I think Cooper said, hasn't he, that they're fearless, which I think is positive. And I think that comes with being young. So it works in your favour, really, because, we can talk about experienced heads in the Southampton dressing room. Well, I feel like that maybe they'll reflect a little bit more on performances. It might work for them, it might not work for them. But when you're young, there's a fearlessness to you. You've not experienced things that maybe, players of 26, 27, 28 have done, especially when you're 19, 20. So it can definitely work into your favour. And I think that's that's a real positive when it comes to the age of the side. And I think the Norwich game, to be honest, was a massive indicator of that, for us to go from two absolutely desolate performances to what we did against Norwich. You kind of look at that and go, okay, well, that shouldn't have worked like it did in previous campaigns. Even when we've had good teams, that sort of trickle down effect of those last games would have definitely gone into the playoffs as well. But they just flipped the switch and put in the performance of the season in the second leg when the pressure was at its highest. So I do look at that and think, well, the mentality might be strong. Daniel Farke is sort of a steward to this. I think obviously he's done it twice before. He's never done it in the playoffs, but neither has Russell Martin, obviously. So I don't know if he's going to be able to galvanise them in that way in terms of experience, but he might be able to calm them down. He doesn't seem like an excitable head, which is good. He seems to be quite rational, find the positives in negative situations. So yeah, mate, I think as a squad, it's probably the most confident I've been in terms of mentality, definitely.
Yeah, I think it's just as we're content creators supporting Leeds, watching Leeds week in, week out, we just look at it at a nervy sort of thing. If I ask neutrals, they're like, Leeds on paper, are brilliant. Leeds got 90 points. Leeds have doubled our team. Leeds have beaten this team. So I think we just overanalyze our team and squad quite a lot, and that's good because we are content creators. That's what we should be doing. But if you look at the Southampton 11, what scares you the most out of them? I personally, for me, it's the midfield three of Smallbone, Downs, and Ariba. I think they could. It depends what formation Farke goes with. We'll speak about our predicted 11 in a minute. But for me, I think this game could be won in the midfield. I don't know what your opinions are about that.
Yeah, it's been won twice in the midfield. I thought what was interesting is when we played them last time, Martin switched to a 3-5-2 for that game, and he'd not done it beforehand. So they'd lost 3 on the bounce. I think they had 4 at the back. And then he went to a 3 at Ellen Road, which I thought was brave. It was sort of pragmatic as well. And, in a game where sort of one of you are going to win it and go into the playoffs in a better form, at that time we expected. I can't imagine we all thought that would happen. But yeah, he went to a 3. And when I've watched them since, obviously the 2 playoff games, the Leeds game, they have looked a little bit more solid. I've thought Kyle Walker-Peters is sort of thriving in that formation. And I think it's better for them dealing with wide players as well, because they naturally fall back into a 5. I think Walker-Peters against Somerville is probably Somerville's toughest
100%
game I've felt this season, and he's been quiet in both games. So yeah, I think their 3-5-2 is very, very interesting. As you've just mentioned as well, it definitely gives them something in the midfield. Flynn Downs, for me, is probably the best midfielder in the division. He is absolutely quality. And I think him coming back has changed them completely. And that is the worry for me. It's him. And it's the fact that can you rely on Rutter to be disciplined when it comes to that midfield structure as well? Because it's all well and good us talking about Leeds going forward and blitzing them. But in that midfield, he has to come back and help Grove and Kamara, because if it's Flynn Downs, if it's Will Smallbone and Joe Aribo, who have both really, really thrived when Flynn Downs has come back, Leeds are in a hell of a lot of trouble, because in football matches, if the midfield battle is lost, you lose a game. Like that is just it's how football works, because it's the engine room, it's the brain of the operation. So yeah, mate, I think 100% is that midfield, and if I'm to identify one of them, it is Flynn Downs. And I think Rutter coming back and maybe dragging him out of position and being like he was the other night is probably our way to success. I think that's the key battle. I think the other key battle is Ryan Manning versus Nonso. I think Kyle Walker-Peters is going to keep Somerville quite quiet in the game. So I think we're looking probably at a scenario where Rutter versus Downs, whoever wins that, might win the game. But obviously us getting in and around that right-hand side and getting a bit of sort of, joy is going to be Nonso versus Ryan Manning. I thought you saw that at Ellen Road a little bit.
Yeah, agreed. And even he can bring on Dan James, and he can have a bit of fun down that right-hand side as well. So let's touch on the Leeds 11. I don't know about you. I personally wouldn't, but I wouldn't make any changes to the win we had at Norwich. The only thing you could touch maybe on a formation thing. I want to know your opinions about that, because like we said, sometimes it is as simple as they've got 3 midfielders, we've got 2. Of course, they're going to overrun us. Of course, they're going to get in spaces because they've just got more midfielders. It is going to be a big game for Rutter to see if he can drop back. Or do you start with a 4-3-3 and chuck Archie back in the middle? Do you change anything?
It's going to be a different game. And I think a lot of fans maybe are looking at this and thinking, oh, it's going to be like Norwich. It's not going to be like Norwich at all. As much as we were brilliant, Norwich were absolutely pathetic when they came to Ellen Road. They were absolutely awful. It's arguably the worst team performance in any leg of any playoffs you'll ever see. It was so bad. So we do have to take that into context. Southampton are not going to be that bad at all. They finished 3 points behind us. They've had a 25 unbeaten run this season as well. So they are extremely dangerous. You look at the balance of their side. There's an argument that they've got a better squad than Leeds. You know, when you look at the back line, you look at the midfield, you look at they've got up top. We were just speaking about it off air. Ross Stewart, Shea Adams, Adam Armstrong, Stuart Armstrong, Bednarek, Taylor Bellis, Stevens. The midfield is good. The fullbacks are good. They've got a good balance. So it is not going to be easy whatsoever. And I'm torn on this because I feel like if we went to a 3 in midfield, defensively, we'd be better. But I did think against Norwich, we were completely isolated in terms of that attacking structure. 4-2-3-1, it feels like, from what we saw in the last game with the performances of, like, you know, Perot, even, I know it sounds daft, it's not formation wise because Melee is always going to be there, but Melee, Perot, and Gruev, who I've been highly critical of, they were arguably 3 of the overperformers in that game. So do you keep it the same? Probably. Consistency breeds success as well. So I think, to be honest, it is a flip of a coin. I think we are at our strongest when we have those 4 going forward. Do you change that to stop Southampton? I don't know. And it's a real tough one for me because I think they will overrun our midfield. I think that will happen. But are Leeds going to be as dangerous if we go to a 4-3-3? Probably not. So you've got to be at your most dangerous, but they are also going to be at their most dangerous as well with how we set up, I think.
Yeah, it's that thing of stopping them or not changing our style so we can beat them, make them scared of us, isn't it? It's gonna be a real test. It's gonna be an occasion. It's gonna be either heartbreak or joy come Sunday at 5 o'clock. Connor, I don't know if you thought about it yet, but can I maybe get one last score prediction? I don't know if you thought about it, but just go on. I personally think, let me go first so then you can have a little bit of time to think. I've gone for a 3-2 Leeds. I think it's going to be goals. I think that might be an extra time as well. Don't know who's going to score. I think Leeds are going to do it just based on we're going to score more goals. That's how I see it. But what are you thinking?
Yeah, I said that. I think I said that initially as well. But then I'm thinking, you know, we've struggled against their defense a little bit this season, but we have scored twice against them, to be fair. In that second game, we were awful, and it was only 2-1. You know, I know they controlled it, but it was only 2-1. Kind of sitting on the fence, mate, but I think it's going to be 2-1 either way. I think it is literally a flip of a coin. But yesterday I was saying 2-1 Leeds. Now I'm once again not too sure again, and I genuinely think it is 50-50, and it is. I'm so certain it's going to be 2-1, but I think it could be to either. I think it's, as I say, it's. I can't see it going to extra time. I see either 2-1 Leeds or 2-1 Southampton, but it's 50-50. And the only reason I'm saying it's 50-50 as well is because of Leeds' last performance against Norwich. If they replicate any of that, we've got a serious chance, I think.
Nah, I'll let you off with that one. That's not bad. I respect it. But guys, that is our sort of playoff final predictions. The game is 2 days away. Like Connor, my prediction's definitely going to change. I'm feeling confident now. Come Sunday morning, I don't know how confident I'm going to be. But guys, be sure to smash that like button. Let's go for 300 likes on this video. Subscribe if you're new. We're on the road to 15K. Also, get down there right now and subscribe to Connor. He's got so much content coming out every day. I'm struggling to keep up with it. Okay.
So
guys, be sure to smash that like button. Subscribe if you're new. Comment. Get all your comments in. I've been Ollie Ward. You guys have been excellent. And I'll catch you in the next video. Cheery.